So, good day, everyone, and welcome to today's section where I will be where we will be completing the second aspect of this question on foreign group. So, the first aspect that we look at is on what preparation of the word of the income word statement. So, the next aspect that we'll be looking at now is preparing the financial word preparing the financial statement. So that is the next task now. We are through with the first aspect, which is to prepare the income statement. So the next thing that we want to do now is to prepare the statement of financial position for the group as a whole. So before you can able to proceed now, one of the first thing that you have to do, since the statement of financial position is what is required now, is to translate the statement of financial position is to translate the statement of financial position of of the subsidiary to to the goodwill. And assuming that it is just like this question 4. So in this question 4 now, you are asked basically to prepare the statement of financial position. So once you are through with your first working, which is your group structure, then the next thing that you should do is to translate the statement of financial position, to translate the statement of financial position. So that should be your second working. Translate the statement of financial position. So assuming that you are starting, and same thing on the income statement as well. Once you prepare your group structure, the next task that you should do is to what? The next task is to translate the financial statement to to the parent. So we'll continue from what now? We'll continue from that. So we stop at what working 6. So what I'm going to do now is to start with working 7. So we'll start with what working 7, and what we'll be doing now is to translate the statement of financial position. So we'll have working 7 now, and in this working 7 now is translation. Translation of the statement of financial position. So, just like I make mention, asset and liability will be translated at what? Asset and liability will be translated at the closing rate. Asset and liability will be translated at the what? At the closing rate. So here we have we have it's very straightforward. So we have the PPE, we have the property, plant and equipment. So the next thing is this is I think in B dollar. Then you talk about the rate, then we will arrive at what? At $8. So PP, what is the cost in the subsidiary? That is 4,000 and 4,000. So, and what is the closing rate? The closing rate is what? Is 0.6. The closing rate is what? Is 0.6. The closing rate is what? Is 0.6. The closing rate is 0.6. So 0.6. So, and don't forget here, the subsidiary currency is higher than is more valuable than the parent. So by the time you convert this particular word 4,000 to the parent, it's going to be what? It's going to be high. So that's 4,000 now. Then you divide it by what is 0.63. So you're having 6,349, 6,349, 6,349. Then the next one is our what? Is the current what? Is the current asset. So in the current asset, what do we have? The current asset is 2,000. The current asset is what? Is 2,000. So that is also 0.63. So total asset is what now? Is 6. So the next thing is what? 2000. Then you divide it by what? 0.63. And that's 3175. That's 3175. And if you add these two together, that's 6349 plus 3175. That's 959524. So the next thing we go on to the what? To the equity and liability. So we'll start with our words. Let me start with the liability to make it very, very easy. So in this question, there is no non-current. So we only have what? We only have current, which is what? The current is 1.5. So let me just come here and say what now? Current liability. Current liability. So the current liability for this in this question is what? Is 1.5. So sorry, 1.5. So automatically this is 6,000. So the equity should be what? Should be 4.5. Abi? So and this particular part as well, this should be 9,524. Equity and liability are translated at what? Closing rates. So if some of us remember when on a normal group where or wherever you're going to do what, you do you're working one group structure, the next one you do your net asset. One of the key purpose of you drawing up the net asset list is to determine the post-acquisition profit. So the post-acquisition profit here is going to be the balance figure. The post-acquisition here is going to be the balance figure. So it's not as if you say, oh, DOA, DOC minus what DOA, then you get your post-acquisition profit. So here it is the post-acquisition profit is is the balance figure. So I have what now? 2381, 2381. So what we now need to do now is what is the ordinary share? The share capital is what is 1,000, and this is also what 35. So this is 1,000. This is 1,000. So I can write now ordinary share. This is 1,000. Then automatically, what you now need to go back to the question. What is the pre-acquisition profit? When you acquire, what is the pre-acquisition profit? And so asset and liability at what? Closing rate. Asset and liability at what? At closing rate. But equity at acquisition rate. Equity at what? At acquisition rate. So you're going to check now. You acquire on 1st of October 2007, and the rate is what? Is 0.5. So this is 0.50. So by the time you divide this, you'll be having what? 2,000. Now, the next thing now is you need to now look for what is the pre-acquisition profit. You acquire this, you can see it. When the reserve of B were 1.8, so this is the pre-acquisition profit. When the reserve, look at additional information too. Additional information too. A acquired 80% of B on 1st of October 2007 for 5.2, when the reserve is what? 1.8. 1.8. So this is pre-acquisition. 1,800. So automatically, I'm expecting what? So like 4.5. 45 minus what now? 28. Then this is what now? 17. So this is 1000 what? Let me change the color here. So this is 17. And that is the what? The post-acquisition profit. This is the post-acquisition profit, which indirectly is the what? Is the balance figure. So this pre-acquisition profit now, this pre-acquisition profit now, you need to go and check what is your acquisition rate. When you acquire, what is the rate? It's still what? Is 0.5. So this is like what now? 36. So from you also do the same thing. Like for example, now I have what 9,524, then minus 56, then minus 2381. Then I have what now? 1543. So that's the word 1543. And when you have this should be 7143. So that is the word. So the post-acquisition profit here is the word, is the balance figure. The post-acquisition profit here is the word, is the balance figure. So asset and liability at what rate? Asset and liability at closing rate. Asset and liability at what rate? Asset and liability at closing rate, while equity at acquisition rate. And whenever you have what, I make mention of this in the previous section, whenever you have like a revaluation reserve, you need to first of all check. So don't always assume that the equity or all the item that you have in this equity, you are going to translate it at acquisition rate. No, you need to first of all check. And you can remember this 90, and you need to first of all go and watch the previous on the income statement before you watch this particular one. So you can see now there's a revaluation reserve of 90,000 now. So this revaluation reserve now, it occurred on September 2017, and it is September 30, I'm sorry. It occurred at 30th of September 2017, and that is the day that we are preparing the financial statement. And this particular revaluation now, it relates to PPE. So you are going to use the word now, the closing rate, which is what 5.0. So you won't say that it is because it's part of what equity now, then you use acquisition rate. No, because that revaluation reserve occur as of today. So you are going to use the date that that particular revaluation reserve occur. All right. So please, whenever you have something like this, like revaluation reserve, please be careful. Don't just use the acquisition rate. Check the body of the question. Check the additional information. Are they saying something about what this revaluation reserve? So if there's no any information, then that is now when you can assume that, oh, it occur as at the day that you acquire, then you use the acquisition rate. So please, please, and please, always will check, especially this, whenever you have what revaluation reserve. So I think that's all about the first working out. So the next thing that we need to do now is we can do our NCI directly from Word. We can do our NCI directly from this. We can do our NCI directly from this particular part. So this is my working 7 now. So I can do the working 8 here. So I can say working 8 now. So in my working 8 now, let's do let's do the NCI. So just like we guys should know, you say what NCI now at what? At acquisition. So what is the NCI at acquisition? I think it's given. So the NCI at acquisition is what? Look at additional information 5. The NCI at what? At acquisition is 600. So that is the NCI at what now? That is the NCI at acquisition. But mind you, there's something that you have done earlier. And one of the things that you have what that we have done is if you look at what now, if you look at the this is the what it is given already, so there's no problem. So what we can just do now is, and don't forget, we are reporting in what in the parent currency. So you can go back to your goodwill, seeing I think we have calculated goodwill already. So you can see now that what NCI in the subsidiary currency, it is 600, and we have converted using what is 0.5. So we have 1, 2. So I can just bring this what 1, 2 directly without what. So I can just say this one is coming from what as working water. That is coming from working 4. So which is the what the goodwill. So this is working 4. And that is 1,200. So this is the NCR acquisition. I'm sure that some of us will also remember afterwards, at acquisition, the next thing we'll do is what share of what? Share of profits. So we also need to look at, okay, what is the what? The share of profit. The share of profit. So we have what now? A post-acquisition profit. So what you can do now is, we have something like this. Let me do it here. This is 20. And you say 20 divided by 100 multiplied by what is a post-acquisition profit? The post-acquisition profit is 1,543. 1,543, 1,543. So that's coming from working 7. 1,543. So working 7. So, and don't forget as well, okay, let's do it one after the other. So is 0 point what? 0.2 multiplied by 1,543. So that is what now? 309. That is 309. So the next thing that we also need to do now is we are using fair value method. So if there's a what, there's a gain on goodwill. If there's a gain on what, on goodwill, we are going to share it to them. And if there's a loss, so let me just say, if there's a gain or loss on what, on goodwill, and you are using what fair value method, then it will affect your NCR. So if there's a what gain, the gain or loss on your goodwill in your working for, it will also affect what? It will affect this NCR. So we need to go back now and check. Do you have a gain or you have a loss on goodwill? You can see now that the the goodwill before it is 5, Abi, and now it is 635. As at 2009, it is 563. But as at 30th of September, it is 625. So there seems to be a word now. There seems to be a gain. So what you're not going to do now is what you are going to do now. Let me check. That's one word. That is one step. The next thing that you now need to look at, the next thing that we need to look at is this. Okay. Um, so what you need to do now is there's a particular work that we need to do, and this is it. We need to look at what is the overall gain or loss on the what on the goodwill. So If you look at something here, so if you look at this table, in December, on 30th of September 2009, it is 563. Then, as of today, the goodwill was 635. One thing that we now need to do now is what is the gain? So what we can do now is to have another word. Am I going to call it another working? Am I going to call it another working? So I can call that working, I can call it working eight. And what I want to do now is just to make it very simple for us, is what is the overall gain or loss on that word, on that goodwill? So this one should be my 9, just to make it easy. So I can say what? FS gain on what? On goodwill. So you can remember that goodwill is calculated on the date of acquisition. So when you acquire, which is on October, so this is 1 October 2007. This is B, this is the rate, and this is in A what? $8. So it is still what? 400. The, sorry, 400. The acquisition rate is what? Is 0.5. Is 0, big, is 0.50. And this is 800. As at 30th of what? September 2009. So you can just copy what you have here before. This is 0.71. This is still 400. As at 30th of what? 09, 2010. This is still what? 400. So this one is what now? 0.71, 0.71 is 0.6 what? 63. So this one is what? 563. 563. And this one is what? 634. So I want to determine what is the overall loss or gain on this. We know that for the year, there's a gain of what now? There's a gain of 72 for this year. But what is the overall? Because, for example, now, SFP will look at it from overall perspective. What is the overall gain or loss? But P&L is only interested in what is the gain for this year. P&L is not interested, what was the gain for last year? No. P&L is only interested in, oh, what is the gain for this year? And that is what we have done, which is the word. We have determined the gain for this year, which is what? 72. And that's why you can see here. We say what? FS gain or loss for the year, just for the year. On goodwill, there's a gain of what? 72. So and we want to prepare the statement of financial position now. So you have to look at it. What is the gain, the overall? So you can see that what now? Something worth 800. It dropped to what? 563. Then it is now at what? 63 what? 634. So what we can do now is loss. I can say what now? Loss as at 30th of what? 20 what? 2009. So that would be what now? 800 minus what? 563. How much is that? So 800 and minus 563. That is what now? 237. So there's 237. So overall loss will now be what? That 230, 237 minus, you can see that there's a gain this year, 72. So minus 72. So there's what 165 what? There's 165 loss overall from year to what? From year to date. So this one will now be what now? Share of what? Share of FX what? FX loss on what? On goodwill. And that is your working what? That's your working eight. So that would now be 20 divided by what? 100 multiplied by 165. So you can now say that, okay, multiply by 0.2. Then that is what now? That is 33. So let me what? Let me explain this thing again. So the first thing that you need to try as much as possible to do is what is the overall gain from here? What is it like? Maybe the loss or gain from inception. So when we acquire, thank God that there's no impairment on this one, on this question. So the goodwill still remain the same in the subsidiary currency, 800, 800, sorry, 400, 400, 400. So the only thing that is moving on is the what is the rate. The only thing that is moving on is the what is the rate. So 400 at the inception, we move it to the parent is 800. Then it dropped to what to 563, then it pick up again to what to 634. So at the what in September 20 what? September 2009, you just say 800 minus this. So there was a loss of what? 237. But there's a gain this year. So you just what you just subtract it from the loss. So the overall loss that you have now is what is 65. So we can just what now? We can just say 1, 2 loss what now? 309. Then minus what? 33. So NCI at the what now? At the reporting date. NCI at the what? NCI at the reporting date is 1476. 1476. So we can move on to working 10. So and in the working 10, it is what? In the working 10, so just not so confused. So in January. So working 10 now we can do our what? Investment in what? Investment in associates. Investment in what? In associates. So always make your what? Your CRE, your consolidated retained earnings to be the last. So the next thing we'll do, just like what you have in your format, at what? At cost. At what? At cost. How much does it what? How much does it cost you? So you go back to the what? You go back to the question at cost. So we can see from the parent that, oh, the parent is claiming that, oh, it cost me 900. I mean, you can see at cost 900. So investment in C, 900. So just bring that what 900 here. And the next thing we do is what? Share of profits. Share of what? Share of profits. So we have what now? 40% in this what associate. So 40 divided by 100 multiplied by, I think you have it already, so, but you can always what? So this is the, so like for example now, this guy is saying what? This guy is saying I have what 1.5, which is retained any as at today. His retained any as at what? As at today is what is 1.5. Then the next thing that you need to now look for is, let's say, well, look at additional information 3. A acquire 40% of this for 900. At least we have shown that when the reserve were this. So the reserve has moved from 1.5, I mean, sorry, from 700 to 1.5. The reserve has what? Has moved from what? From 1.5 to what? To 700. When you acquired it was 700. Then as of today is what? Is 1.5. So that is just like you saying that is it's not 800, so minus 700. So it has what that's a positive. So we can say what now? If we say 1.5, Abby, minus 700, that's 800, Abby, then multiply by 0.4. So that is 320. So this is the what? This is your post-acquisition profit. And we say this, that is 1,000 what? 220. So that is it from what? And it's like you doing something like this, which you don't need. No, previously, we used to do what you do. What do we used to call this thing? You are going to do net asset list, but you don't need to do net asset list, whereby you're going to say, what, oh, deal what? DOA. Then you say, what, DOC. What's the ordinary share? The ordinary share should be what? Still remain the same. That's one. So that's one. So here is what is also one. What is the what? The retained earning. The retained earning as at today is what is 1.5. And when you acquire it was what 700. So it's just for you to say, well, okay, this is what 2.5. I mean, this is what 1.7. Then post acquisition profit. Post acquisition profit is now going to be what now? 2.5 minus what? 1.7. So if we say 2.5 minus 1.7, is that not 800? Abi? Let's check now, shall I'm not in a hurry. 2.5 minus what? Then you just say these, that's 800 baht. So so that is what that is that. Then the final working before we leave you guys to what to prepare the solution by yourself is to do the word is to do, and let me end it with the words in case you don't know. Let me end with what Chelsea. So we have what now 11 and 11, but hold on, is there anything left, sir? I don't think so. Is there any more working? I don't think so. No. So let's end it with what our CRE consolidated what the consolidated retaining. So just like the way you know at what at SFP, so you go back. What is this guy reporting? He's saying that his reserve is what is 12.1. 12.1. That's cool. 12.1. Then we can now say what now? Share of what? Can say share of post-acquisition profit. Share of share of post-acquisition profit. And if you do the word, the share of post-acquisition profit, that should be 80 divided by 100 multiplied by, I can't remember that figure. That's one what? 1543. 1543. 1543. 1543. 1543. So this plus this, then you have what? One, two, three. So that is that. Then the next thing is what? You have associates. So this is for sub. So associates, 320. Then don't forget the what? The FS what? The FS loss on what? On goodwill. And let me confirm something. Let me go back to the NCR. I hope I did not say what. Okay, FS loss as well. I thought I got maybe I was referring to the game. So this is your working eight. That will be 80 divided by what 100 multiplied by how much is the loss? I think is 65 and is working eight 165. So you can as well help me out by saying what 80% of 165 is 0.8 multiplied by 165. So that's 132. So you remove the 132. 132. So I think that is what that is that on that. And you cannot sum everything together. So this is 1111 plus 123 and plus 320 minus 132. So that's what 13,522. 13,522. So I think that is that on what? Sorry, that is that on that. So the next thing that we can do, let me zoom it out. So this is all the what? As my brain is what is informing me for now. This is all the working relating to this particular ones, relating to this particular question. This is all the work. This is all the working. Think of for now. All right. It's very long and it's having what 11 working. So you can now what? You can now rush. So mine is what? Let me just follow what my mind is saying. I could have leave it for you guys, but there's no problem. So go on. So let me just rush and do that one, then we'll call it a week. I even see the graphic tab is not writing again. So on a what? On a fast note. So I have my what? I have my PPE. And don't forget you have the goodwill. And that I can remember that one. That's coming from your working for. So this is in A word. This is in $8. Can't remember what that goodwill is. So let's go back to working for. So how much is our goodwill? So goodwill as of today. The goodwill as of today is what? 635. The goodwill as of today is what? 635. All right. 635. I also need another thing. 635. Investment in associate 1,220. Okay, so that is what I need. So this is what 635. Then investment in associates is 1,220. So and that's working 10. All right. So the PPE of the parent is how much? The PPE of the parent is 7,000. So I'm now going to say 7,000 plus what is the PPE of the what? Don't forget, you don't consolidate associate though. Can go back. I think that's working 7 or something. So when we do that 6349. Look at this working 7. 6349 working 7. 6349. So 6349. That's coming from your working 7. So this is 7 plus 6, that's 13. So this is 13, 3, 3, 4, 9. Then you can add everything together. So, oh no, 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 sorry. Let me just bring in the last one. Current what? Current asset. Write it full the what in the exam. There's nothing like CA. So this is 3,000. So 3,000. Then we need to go back to working seven again. That's why I don't like to prepare statement of financial position, to be honest. 3,175. 3,175, because you have to be going back up and down. 3,175. So this is your working seven. So, and that should be 6,175. So you get your what? Your total assets, and that's it. And if it does not balance, then you guys will what? Go and look for it. Just review it again. So this is 13,349 plus 635 plus 1,220 plus 6,175. So that is 21,379. 21,379. Then let me just do the words. I don't want to go down a little bit much, so I can just do the equity here. So the share capital, just like you guys know, is the what? Is the parent on. Then the what? The retained earning. That's your last additional working. So that is your working 11. If I remember. And that one is close to me here. Working 11 is what is 13,522. 13,522. How much is NCI? NCI is 1,000. So NCI is what? No, sorry. NCI is what? 1,476. 1,476. So that's cool. 1,476. No, it's 2,013. All right. So this is 15,522. Then this is what your NCI. That's your working, I think now. That's 1,476. Then your current what? Your current liability is 2,000. Then what do you have in working seven? Thank God that's a working seven. Working seven is 2,381 for current liability. 2,381. 2,381. So 2,381 as working seven. So that should be 4,381. So let's sum everything together. So this is 21. Yeah, that's 21. So 55 plus 1,476 plus 4,381. That's 21,371. So it agreed 21,371. So that is the word. That is the end of this particular words. That is the end of this particular question. Question one. Let me even say foreign. That's the end about this word. It's very long, so please you have to what take your time. Watch the recorded word video of the income statement before you come back to watch this statement of financial position. So I think that is all. Thank you guys for listening. And it's very long, so it's have like what? I have like 11 working. So I'll take a bite of it. This is the consolidated retained earning. Then get to your associates. Do your NCI. You need to first of all determine the what? At least the major working, we just did 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's just five. The remaining one is related to what to the income statement. So here on this word SFP, you do the translation, you do your big three, the NCI, the words, the associate, and the goodwill. So one thing that we need to do here, which is very, very important, is to determine the overall what the overall gain or loss on the FS gain. So here should be what FS gain slash loss on what FS gain slash loss on what on goodwill. So that is very, very important word. That's very important thing. So this is the word, the FS gain. Look at the overall gain from onset to date, from the beginning to date. Oh, in 2007, when you acquired, it was 800. Then it is now what 563 in 2009. Then in 2010, it is now 6. So the overall loss is what is 165. So that's just it. Come back, please. So thank you everyone, and thanks for listening. So this is it on the word on the income statement. We do the words, we do the goodwill, the FS gain or loss, the adjusted profit, and the share of what the overall share of what OCI to the NCI. Then we also do the word. So you can take a word, a screenshot of the word of the solution. The group structure, you translate the income statement and thing, as I said. So you can take a screenshot of it, please. And can move on to this. And to the word, to the last one. And to the last one. And this is the word, the small solution to it. Okay. But thank you everyone, and thanks for listening. Do appreciate that.